I'm Larry Ray, President and CEO of American Manganese, Inc., listed on the TSX Venture, ticker symbol AMY, A-M-Y, with proprietary patents in the U.S., China, and South Africa. Our focus is on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. China recently legislated the responsibility for recycling onto their electric vehicle manufacturers and importers. For more information, please visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Mike Swanson, editor of WallStreetWindow.com. Welcome back to the show, Mike.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's great to talk with you. Interesting week so far.
Donald Trump, you said, is being tough or mean to gold, and yet he uses so much of it.
Yeah, he likes gold. I mean, obviously he has gold in all his hotels. His 30,000 square foot mansion or apartment that he lives in New York has got gold everywhere too. I saw his interview in 60 Minutes, and I've never seen so much gold in one place, in one room.
Or maybe just gold paint.
Yeah. Even that's, symbolic of what gold represents. So he definitely likes having it around him, or symbols of gold, and yet at the same time, since he's been elected, gold has pulled back. It's really been quite remarkable, the different things that have been going on in the financial markets. On one hand, here in the United States, the news cycle is becoming dominated by Donald Trump. What's he going to do next? What's he going to say on Twitter even? For instance, just the other day, he had a meeting with television reporters and, supposedly yelled at him and said things mean to him. And then he met with the New York Times and, was a little bit nicer. That's kind of dominated the news cycle. But I actually think that there's more important things going on than just Trump. And Trump as an individual is what, is capturing everyone's mind. But more important is Trump and the people he's bringing into the White House. Of course, he's putting his transition team together now. But when it comes to the financial markets, I believe he's coming in with a specific plan he wants to implement, and he has a team of people to do it. Now, I see him as the chairman of the board of a power group, if you want to use that kind of phrase, that's taken over the Republican Party. Who are these people? Well, people who funded his campaign. He spent roughly $250 million. $50 million of that was his own money. But Wilbur Ross, he got together about $25 million. Carl Icahn was a big contributor. Other conglomerates and hedge funds similar to the type of operations they run also contributed. So did construction companies, agriculture companies, and so forth. The thing that all these contributors have in common, though, is that the most of their profits come from inside the United States, the domestic market, and none of the contributors are from Wall Street or Silicon Valley, which is what was provided the bulk of Clinton's donations, and is a new factor even in the Republican Party. The election cycle of Romney and McCain saw lots of Wall Street money go to their coffers. So while, as voters or citizens, we watch the TV, we read the newspapers to see what's going on, in reality, I think it's these people behind the scenes that fund the political campaigns that are more important to what's going to happen. And they are putting in policies, or getting ready to, that are going to benefit them. Trump is going to do an infrastructure plan. He says he wants to do $1 trillion, and much of that money is going to go to industries that these people funding him are involved in. But more importantly, and why this is actually having a negative impact for gold right now, is that these people are doing such big changes, they're saying they are, that it's going to do away with the type of financial world that we've been used to, which has been a world dominated by low interest rates and quantitative easing around the world. And Trump and his advisors say these don't work, that all they've done is create a bubble, and in reality they're not really benefiting from them. And the American people as a whole aren't either. All it's done is kept stock market propped up, but not created real economic growth. So one of the things we want to do, and you can look this up, you type David Malpass, M-A-L-P-A-S-S, that's Trump's top economic advisor. Go look for speeches he's given. He calls the program economic nationalism. And that's a phrase David Bannon has used. That's Trump's closest political advisor. He's his Karl Rove, so to speak. And he also uses the same phrase. And what it involves is focusing on the domestic market, forgetting so much about international trade, which is, of course, is reflected in Trump's talk about tariffs, but abandoning the low interest rates. And the reason why they really want to do that, or one of the reasons, is to make the dollar go up in value, because they know that their program is going to create big budget deficits, because they also want to dramatically lower taxes. So lowering taxes, increasing spending at the same time, you know, common sense would say that's going to bust the budget deficit and cause economic problems in funding it. Well, an answer to that is to make the dollar go up in value substantially, and that's one of their number one goals. And for now, that's why gold, I think, has been getting hit, because with the election of Trump, we now are facing the high likelihood of a faster pace in the increase of interest rates. Before Trump's election, we were looking at a possible 50-50 chance one of December. Probably it was coming in December, but then probably just one next year in December. It seemed like the Fed was setting up a situation where they could just raise rates once a year and just like let everything kind of float around in the financial markets, or hope it would. And then if it had dropped, if the markets dropped, it could like talk about, oh, we'll do money printing, or we won't raise again, and try to manage a situation like that. Well, that game plan that everyone's been working on to trade the markets is now out the window. So myself, I was very bullish on gold with the knowledge that if the stock market were to drop at all, and I thought it was going to, that the Fed would, you know, do something, printing money, or, you know, not raise rates, that would be beneficial to gold. Well, now, you know, Trump isn't promising to help the stock market. His advisors say the stock market's a bubble, it can just crash, and they don't even care about that. So I don't think the stock market is going to have the support in the United States of, you know, government action like it has in the past. Now, ultimately, you know, the dip in gold is probably going to be a temporary thing, and it will bottom out and, you know, have another leg up. And, you know, I'm using the charts to analyze when that turning point is, but today, as we're speaking, gold is down. It doesn't look like today is going to be the turning point, but eventually down the road, I do think people will stop worrying, you know, in the markets about how much are they going to raise rates, or how fast is this and that going to happen. And then there will be risks to Trump's programs, and people will be gravitating to focusing on them instead of this, let's call it a honeymoon affair of him coming in and everyone hoping it's going to create growth and so forth.
Well, I dare Trump to do what Justin Trudeau did. Justin made almost 200 election promises, and within 6 months had done about 100 of them. Will Trump follow all of his promises?
Well, you know, he's already backtracked on the promise of investigating Clinton and trying to put her in jail. So that promise has been backtracked on. He also told the New York Times that he now doesn't think torturing prisoners is such a good idea because the man he's thinking of appointing to be Secretary of Defense, who is a general, told him it doesn't work. So those are two promises. But beyond that, I actually think he's very serious, about doing things. Now, the most unbelievable promise he's made is building this wall, with Mexico to keep immigrants from coming into the United States. But even that promise, he's now talking about, not rounding up all the immigrants and throwing them out of the country, but rounding up 500,000 to 1 million of them that have committed crimes or have felonies and so forth. And, I really think he's going to do it. And if you go back and think about when he first announced that he was running, in his speeches, he would say things about, the Mexicans are coming over here and they're terrible, some of them are terrible, killing people, doing this, and, really rough language. Well, in the end, it looks like he's going to target those people, and maybe that's why he concentrated on them so much. And then, if you look at his foreign policy team, he's got people in there that want to target Muslims. There's a fellow named Frank Gaffney. If you go on YouTube and type his name in and watch one of his speeches, he claims that Islam is almost like a cancer, and the Islam people need to be, treated that way. And so they, really want to take harsh measures, and I believe it. I believe what they're saying. I made a mistake watching the elections, thinking, he's just a showman, he's just a TV person, and not really taking it very seriously. And frankly, the press didn't take him very seriously either. But as he comes in office, I think he is dead serious about doing things, and I don't think that people realize it yet.
We'll have more with Mike Swanson right after the break.
Gem International is a new diamond explorer in the richest diamond producing country in Africa, located next to the 4th largest producing diamond mine in the world. International Spotlight is on an 1109 carat diamond recently discovered in Africa by a fellow Canadian junior with a proven operator and finance team. Gem International trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol GI. Visit us at gemdiamondmining.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Mike Swanson. Mike, I know Japan was really counting on Clinton winning. The Prime Minister of Japan had met with Hillary in the near past, and now he's had an informal meeting with Trump. Apparently, he gave the president-elect a $4,000 gold-plated golf club. Is that going to help his economics at all?
Well, it was a very interesting moment. He meets with Trump, gives him the golf club, and within just a few hours, the Central Bank of Japan, the minister of that bank, he released a bombshell statement that said that his central bank would print any amount of money necessary to prevent their interest rates from going up. They would buy any amount of bonds necessary. Well, the Japanese yen, since Trump's election, has been dropping almost every single day even since that meeting with the Prime Minister, Abe, and Trump himself. So I don't think he got anything out of that meeting, because within a few hours, the central bank released that bombshell statement. And the big risk to Trump's economic programs that I'm describing, even if they work and help the American economy grow, and I do actually think they will benefit the American economy, and I do think he's going to actually increase the number of jobs, and if it does work, people in the United States a lot of people will be very happy with that. However, there are big risks, and one of the biggest risks is that a rising dollar, because the United States is raising rates while Japan prints money and Europe is trapped still doing its quantitative easing programs. It's actually, after this Japanese central bank man gave this announcement. The European Central Bank guy says he's to extend QE most likely in December. So we have a situation where the U.S. is in a tightening cycle of monetary policy with Trump, and the rest of the world isn't. That's going to make the U.S. dollar go up. It's going to attract money into the United States, maybe even into the United States financial markets. Although I don't really know what that would do with them. That's something still watching to make up my mind. But the big risk, though, is that these programs will have a result of actually throwing Japan and emerging markets into chaos, because, you know, if they're suffering, you know, by not being able to export as much in the U.S. because of high tariffs, or not able to finance their debts as well because our bonds are more attractive to people, they're going to have problems financing their deficits, and they're going to have to, you know, they're going to have turmoil in their currency markets. The yen has dropped almost every single day. No big deal now, but say in 6 months it's making a new low, and it just falls and falls and falls. Japan, I think, is the country the most threatened to have a crisis next because of what's going on, you know, with its currency and with Trump's programs. Japan could become the next China, let's say, the red spot in the world when it comes to financial market risk. So if you get a dominoes effect of, you know, Japan blowing up, Europe blowing up, you're going to have chaos in the global financial markets. That will likely benefit gold tremendously. But we're not at that point where people are worrying about this. But things can turn on a dime, and that's why, you know, I'm looking at gold very closely, the spot when this current drop comes to an end, to buy more. And that's, you may not seem like it now, but gold is still going to come out of this as, you know, one of the big beneficiaries of bright spots, because they're going to be heading for some real chaos down the road. I don't know, you know, it could be next fall when it starts, but it's coming.
Would you be looking at gold bullion or gold miners?
Well, both, really. Gold bullion is, I guess I could use the word less risky because it's less volatile. And it plays a simple role in a portfolio, doesn't trade with the U.S. stock market, so it helps you diversify. Gold miners I look at as more as a trading story or a growth story, because when they go up huge, and we've already seen that this year. From January to about the day Trump's election, even with the pullback that started in August, the gold stocks are the top gaining sector in the entire stock market. They've gone up so much. You know, they've more than doubled this year. So when they have upswings, the gains are tremendous. But then when they fall, you know, they can fall quite a lot. I don't think we're going to have anything like the last bear market, and most of the losses may actually have already come to pass. But, you know, we're already down over 20%. That just shows you what the swings can be. So, you know, I think it's something that, you know, it's fun to get in and own when they're going up, not so much fun when they're going down, and you got to be more cognizant of that than with the actual gold price itself, because if you look at gold here, we just broke $1,200 this week. You know, I mean, I can't really predict the bottom, but assuming the worst case scenario, and it went to 1,050, the low of January, that's not really much of a drop from where it's trading at. It's really no big deal. You can buy Facebook and see it fall 10% in a single day, like it's nothing. And all they talk about on CNBC is buy Facebook, buy Facebook, buy Facebook. You know, well, I'd rather own gold that, you know, is kind of more of a safety play in this type of financial world that we're now living in. It's a different world than what it was before Trump was elected, but the risks are now different. and it's a little different how things play out, but it's still what Trump's doing is a response. Trump and his team, it's a response to a terrible situation that the world's already in. They're going to create chaos in their programs when chaos is coming anyway. And that's just the way it is.
So long term, gold is still a good bet.
Oh, certainly. I mean, the best times to buy gold too is when it's falling. And again, it's impossible to guess or predict an exact price bottom, but it's fun to own gold and see it go towards $1,400 an ounce, and that's when people want to buy it. But when it's below $1,200 an ounce is really when they should be thinking about buying it more seriously. Buying dips is the best way to get into something. Now, if you buy now, you do have to be prepared that it could dip more. But, if you buy at the top, you got to be prepared to be a sucker at the top. If you buy on dips, it's a little bit different. You might have to wait a little while before it goes back above 1,400 to a new high and really goes crazy, but you're really in a much better investment spot.
Mike, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thank you. It's great to talk with you.
My guest has been Mike Swanson, editor of WallStreetWindow.com. You're listening to HowStreet.com Radio. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Questions for the show can be sent to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com Radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com Radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.